No matter how much you love your Apple products, you gotta admit one thing, i.e., Siri sucks. But the good news is that the folks at Apple are trying to fix it once and for all by leveraging all the advancements in AI. Is it something that would ring bells in the AI war? Let's find out. Surprisingly, we live in a world where robots assist us in most of our chores. That's terrifying yet astonishing. But then when we look at our phones, we still have the dumb old Siri. But now, reports are coming that Apple is using an internal chatbot to help its employees prototype future features, summarize text, and answer questions based on data it has been trained with. The company hasn't been sure what it wants to do with its chatbot project on the customer-facing side yet, but Gorman's report sheds some light on at least its internal chatbot uses. According to the newsletter, Apple is looking at ways to expand the use of generative AI within its organization, with one possibility being giving the tool to its AppleCare support staff to better help customers deal with issues. But that won't necessarily happen soon, as the chatbot's tendency to get things wrong is well known to Apple and its CEO Tim Cook, who noted in a May earnings call that there are a number of issues that need to be sorted when it comes to AI. As Gorman notes, Apple will probably move ahead with its plans much more deliberately than what we've seen with Google, Microsoft, or many others that can't seem to get generative AI into their products fast enough. Still, Apple sources reportedly told Bloomberg last week that the company will have a significant AI-related announcement next year. We still don't know if it's going to replace Siri or is it going to improve it. But here is the twist in the tale. No company likes leaks, so Apple and Samsung have reportedly instructed their employees not to use chatbots because of the potential for leaked information, and their hallucinations that produce false information can be devastating, like it was for a lawyer who used ChatGPT to create a brief that was full of totally fabricated cases. But still, Apple still needs to respond to moves in the AI space from other companies. Meta recently announced that Microsoft's Azure platform will adopt Meta's sort of open-source LLMA 2, while Samsung continues to find ways to incorporate AI into its own devices. Apple has avoided the hype train so far, even as it adds more machine learning features to its devices all the time. But its 2018 hiring of former Google AI head John to head up the company's machine learning efforts indicates it's serious about wading into the uncertain waters of generative AI, even if it's been mostly quiet about it. Meanwhile, I think the developers behind this project can understand that AI chatbots tend to provide false information. Therefore, before taking this major step, the multi-trillion-dollar company will definitely make sure to reduce the chances of error to a minimum. There are a number of issues that need to be sorted, said Apple CEO Tim Cook in a recent earnings call, indicating that the company will be cautious with its approach towards artificial intelligence. Considering a series of recent AI-related incidents, a cautious approach seems to be the best way to move forward. With my years of experience in this field, I too think that moving one step back is a good approach here, rather than just making the bot available for the public without considering its repercussions. And I almost forgot to tell you this. The project is codenamed Ajax internally, the sources say, although some engineers with the company refer to it as Apple GPT. It is built on top of the Google machine learning framework JAX and runs on the Google Cloud. I don't know your feelings, but I'm really looking forward to its release date. But here's the catch. Ajax was developed as an experiment around the end of 2022 and has since been used by Apple employees for some tasks like product prototyping. However, the road has been rough and bumpy for the team. Initially, the rollout was put on hold over security concerns, and there is a rule within the company that it can't yet be used to build anything that will ultimately be consumer-facing. Employees must go through an application and approval process to begin using it. Once they gain access, they can use it as a web app, although one that has a stripped-down design, not meant for public consumption. Gyanendra has been leading Apple's AI efforts since he defected from Google in 2018. But Apple's AI strategy has focused on conservative applications that use on-device processing to improve the user experience or introduce extra features. That lies in stark contrast to the potentially more disruptive experimentation at companies like Google or OpenAI. On top of that, let me tell you this. Most large language models run in the cloud, as does Ajax. But for various reasons, Apple has preferred to keep most AI-based features running on users' local devices. The information report also claimed that Apple was facing a brain drain of strong AI talent to companies like Google and Microsoft, with less conservative attitudes about AI. All that is to say that even though Apple is working on and playing with ChatGPT-like AI tools within the company, there are some major barriers to bringing those tools to Apple products. and it's still unclear how or even if Apple will try to break through those obstacles. In some ways, the information's piece is a roundup or a confirmation of what we already know, like Apple employees' frustrations with limitations of Siri's underlying technology, which had been previously reported, but it calls on news sources to add additional context and depth to the narrative. For instance, it reveals that the team that has been working on Apple's long-in-development mixed reality headset was so frustrated with Siri that it considered developing a completely separate alternative voice control method for the headset. But in my view, it goes beyond just recounting neutral details. Rather, it lays all that information out in a structured case to argue that Apple is ill-prepared to compete in the fast-moving field of AI. You must have heard "think different" indeed, as Google restructured itself to pour efforts into products like Bard, and Microsoft injects ChatGPT and related AI features into a wide variety of products from Bing to Word to GitHub. Apple's recent approach to AI has been different. It is focused almost exclusively on practical applications in features for the iPhone. The emphasis is on using machine learning to improve palm detection on the iPad, give iPhone users more and neat photo editing tricks, and improve suggestions in Apple's content-oriented apps, among other similar things. That's a different tack than the ambitious blue sky experimentation and innovation you see at companies like OpenAI, Microsoft, or Google. Apple has been comparatively conservative, seeking to use AI and machine learning as a tool to improve the user experience, not to truly reinvent how much of anything is done or disrupt existing industries. According to my judgment, Siri's responses are not generative. They are human-written and human-curated. Apple leadership has been hesitant to allow Siri developers to push the voice assistant toward detailed back-and-forth conversations, like you see in the latest LLM-driven chatbots. Those are seen as more attention-grabbing than useful, and Apple is worried about being responsible for bad answers. Some engineers within the company have argued that the company should be more tolerant of bizarre edge cases and factual errors, saying that a certain scale and comfort for wonkiness is needed to truly improve them. Notably, several senior people within the company have abandoned ship for Google or startups out of frustration with Apple's conservative mindset. Yet, Apple has increasingly focused on running AI and machine learning features on users' local devices, both because that enabled fast response times and because of the company's public commitment to user privacy. I must say, for some features, that is an advantage. But to date, LLMs typically run in the cloud, and some have questioned whether they'll ultimately work as well on local devices. The information sources say that Apple's engineers have already begun work on some major LLM-driven features, and that the company hopes to introduce them at an iOS update next year. We don't know yet what those features will be though, nor do we know anything about the approach Apple is taking in developing and implementing them. Out of all this discussion and research, I have deduced that winning the race might not be everything. There's no doubt that Apple is lagging behind big tech companies in radical new AI innovations, even though its software and devices are now filled with little AI-driven features that improve the user experience in small but meaningful ways. And commentators are right to question whether the company can compete when its approach has historically been so conservative. Apple hasn't finalized a plan for rolling out features driven by Ajax to customers. The company's senior John Gyanendra and Craig Federighi are leading teams that are working on figuring all that out, reportedly with the intent to announce something in 2024. Aside from that, I believe this AI war is going to ignite in a couple of years, which can prove to be helpful yet dangerous for us. I am saying this based on my years of experience with the technology sector, so consider my words as my humble perspective. Subscribe to Innovella for more blues from the world of AI. Meanwhile, to see why I'm saying that an AI war will ignite, click on the video link popping up, and I'll see you there in a moment. Until then, take care.